Hello and welcome. My name is Luca Moran.
And I'm Amelia Alpert.
And we're kicking things off as your hosts for this semester's edition of Studio 2043. This production is the final project of the Intro to TV film class at Point Loma Nazarene University in San Diego, California.
On this edition of Studio 2043, we'll be showcasing 4 short films our students created throughout the fall 2025 semester. We are excited to bring these stories to the screen and share them with you. After watching each project, a team representative will share a behind-the-scenes view of their film.
First, we're going to watch A Journey of a Dollar, a short film about a dollar bill, the places it travels to, and how it can impact a person's life. How inspiring. Amelia Alpert is also the director and lead actor for A Journey of a Dollar. Thank you so much for joining us today, Amelia.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So I'm curious, what challenges did your team face while creating this film? How did you work creatively with the limited amount of actors that you had?
So for us, it was a little tough at the beginning when we were brainstorming because we really wanted to have a lot of different actors, but we didn't really know how to ask people. And eventually we just came up with the idea to literally just go outside with our camera crew and our camera and start filming and just ask people that we knew around campus if they wanted to be a part of it. And luckily everyone we asked wanted to be a part of it, so it was a really good amount of teamwork that made it happen.
That does sound challenging, and I'm glad your team was able to figure that out. Since your film focuses on the impact a dollar can have on a person's life, what message do you hope to share with the viewers?
So we want to share with our viewers that each time you make a little act of kindness, it will eventually come back, and everyone's path is different. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's not, and that good things will come back.
Well, thank you for sharing with us today, Amelia.
Thank you for having me.
Now, it's time to move on to our next short film about how student athletes juggle sports, academics, and everything in between. Here's Behind the Balance.
My name is Tatum McCasland. I'm a junior on the women's soccer team. I have been injured for over a few years now, and I got to play again, which is great, but just for me, I think that the hardest part was transitioning and being excited to play again because I was out for a year and a half at my other school. And then got cleared to play and was able to, and then transitioned here, got to play a few games, and then just went down in the exact same way as I had before.
Hi, I am Sophia Baugh. I am a junior here at Point Loma. I'm on the women's volleyball team, and I am a graphic design and marketing major. My earliest class this semester is at 10:55, so right after chapel. Then I have a class from 12:15 to 1:10, another class from 1:20 to 3:40, film at 3:15 to 3:45, and lift from 4 to 4:45, practice from 5 to 6:45. After that, it's just recovery, go to the training room if you have an injury, also going home, making dinner, finishing homework, and going to bed and repeat.
I'm Andrew Nagy. I'm a sophomore. I'm on the men's basketball team, and I'm from Anaheim, California. I chose the student athlete life because it just kind of makes sense. I mean, I get to play the sport I love while still getting education, and it also gets paid for. So that was my main reason behind it. And I also kind of just felt like that's what God was calling me to do.
Let's go, let's go.
I think I'm really thankful for the people that I'm surrounded with because I've always been encouraged in some ways. Like, I know I've been kind of talking a lot about how it's been hard, but in a lot of ways too, just like with my family and my friends, and just my relationship with the Lord, I've been able to kind of tone in on like what's really important.
3 minutes.
My sister played collegiate volleyball when I was a kid, and they always told me that it was a lot, that it is a huge demand, but I never really truly imagined that it would be like this, but I couldn't imagine my life in any other way. I think when I think about just those that are just students here, it's like, I don't know how I would keep myself on schedule. I don't know how I would do schoolwork within a day and not have it to be in a certain amount of time I have to get it done. So I just think it's a whole different lifestyle that I've just grown into and grown with.
I think people definitely overlook the pressure to be perfect. I think a lot of the times people have a misconception about student athletes that they're always going to do the right thing and they have to always do the right thing. I think we just don't get as much grace in those things as other people do because we're under such a spotlight. So I think there's a large responsibility that comes with that, and we just have to figure out how to rise to the occasion of that responsibility.
It's really easy to get caught up in it's hard and it sucks, but in reality, like, there's been so many amazing things that have come from this sport other than just playing that have really encouraged me. And so, I mean, even being here. So I think all in all, like, when I'm by myself and it's actually real that I may not be able to play again, it's just kind of the trusting that the Lord has a much bigger purpose.
I definitely get caught up in the thought of, if I wasn't an athlete, I would have had time to do this, or I would have had time to maybe get a better grade, or not be behind in class and having to figure out ways and pull my professors in different ways too. But there's definitely been those times, and there's also been times where I'm very thankful I am, because I do have people that work with me and are able to understand where I'm coming from.
I've really had a shift in mindset towards just keep growing and becoming the best I can be in every aspect of my life. Even if we don't say we need support, we need more support. I think it's just either mentally or just someone to talk to. I think a lot of student athletes struggle with different performance-based anxiety or focusing on what they could have done better or what they haven't done. So I think just someone to talk to for a lot of student athletes.
Welcome back to the show. That was Behind the Balance. Up next, we're excited to have Maddie Mora with us. She is the producer and editor of this film. Welcome, Maddie. Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So I have a question for you. When you screened an earlier version of the film in class, your group mentioned scenes you wanted to include but couldn't due to time limitations. What scenes were those, and how did your group choose which ones made the final cut?
So that was a lot of our interview film and B-roll. So we had hours and hours of B-roll and then a lot of film on what our people had to say. And in that we just kind of decided of the parts that carried the most weight that would push our story forward. So that was what we used for the interviews. And then B-roll, I think we had like just so much good quality B-roll, and we just put whatever was kind of first that was relevant with what was being said, and we just kind of went with that.
Wow, props to your team, Maddie. Could you tell us your favorite part of the production process for this film?
Yes, my favorite part was filming in the field and using, nice cameras, and then interviewing people who I see every day, but getting to know them on a deeper level and stuff that I hadn't known about them. So I think that was definitely my favorite part.
Wow, well, thank you for sharing with us today, Maddie. Now it's time to take a dive into our next documentary, For the Kingdom, from PLNU to SDSU. This film explores the journey that SDSU students take to give their lives to Christ, led by PLNU students.
We are out here sharing the story of Jesus Christ. For the Kingdom is an evangelism movement in San Diego, California. Its mission is to bring the gospel to as many people as possible and to expose people to what true worship looks like.
The main thing that makes For the Kingdom unique compared to other ministries is the purity behind it. It's just a group of friends who got together because we all love Jesus so much and want to proclaim his name from the mountaintops. We're just wanting to pour out his love on people who aren't really experiencing it.
We feel so inclined to share the gospel because of the fact that it's changed our lives. The gospel being simple, the gospel being true, and then the gospel being power.
And can be broken down into 5 parts.
The first is that God made creation. He made you and he made me in his image to be in creation with him.
The second is that man falls short. It says in Romans 3:23, "For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God."
3 is that the consequence of our brokenness is eternal death.
4th is that God loved us so much that he sent his son Jesus to die on a cross so that his blood could atone for our sins.
And 5 is that in order to receive salvation, you must believe this in your heart, you must turn from your sin, and you must confess Jesus as Lord to those around you.
A lot of the satisfaction that people are seeking on these campuses and to fit in is to be in the party scene, and it comes with drugs or alcohol or other things that are just ultimately don't really fulfill you.
I think it's meaningful for SDSU students because in their day-to-day rhythms, they're being caught off guard by witnesses of the goodness of Jesus Christ.
A lot of people going there are living in darkness and living in lies that the enemy is telling them about their identity, and that they're acting in that. And so they're living in lies that they are alone, that they're depressed and anxious, and it just snowballs from there.
I was insecure and not confident at all, didn't feel worthy, but now I'm worthy in him because of him, what he did for me, because of Jesus.
I personally have found complete freedom from depression, from alcohol, and all it was for me was giving my life to Jesus and letting him kind of take over.
So when we're at SDSU, a lot of the times we're really focused on these college students, but that's not always the people that God puts in our paths. And for me, I got to meet this kid, Muhammad. He really struggled with pain in his knees. And so me and Jackson got to pray over his knees, which was really powerful for us and for Muhammad as well. A couple of days later, he texted me and said, "Hey man, I don't know what you did, but my knees feel way better."
Loma, worship is where people feel connected and find community, and we want people at SDSU to feel the same way.
And you can hear the party music in the background while we're playing worship music. It's just the coolest contrast knowing that my old life, my past sin was next door.
Worship charges me up and pours into us so we can do what we're called to and pour out into others.
Evangelism, it's awesome and it's so cool, and there's so much special things that happen. Even if you don't feel fully prepared, Jesus doesn't call the prepared, he prepares the called.
When someone accepts the gospel, we do our best to let them know that they're not alone. They have Jesus and an amazing community that is so fulfilling.
Matthew 28:19, it says that we're supposed to go out and make disciples in all nations, in all tribes, and all tongues, and that we are to baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And sometimes it's just planting that small little seed that you may not even see or might not even think about in that moment, but a couple years or even a couple months down the line, that might be the reason that someone ends up giving their life to the Lord. And I think that's a beautiful thing to know about the Lord, is he just works in so many different ways.
I hope you enjoyed that documentary. Next, we're going to be discussing the making of For the Kingdom, from PLNU to SDSU, with Angelica Mosier, the producer of the project. Welcome, Angelica.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us why your team decided to cover this ministry in particular?
We were so drawn to For the Kingdom because of the fact that it's not school sanctioned or church sanctioned. The majority of ministries on campus are guided by the administration, which is the school, or guided by a person of authority. But For the Kingdom doesn't have that. It's solely led by a group of students who have this passion for sharing the gospel and who are driven by this calling that the Lord has placed on their hearts.
That sounds like an important topic to highlight. What is one specific story you enjoyed hearing via your interviews that made the final cut?
Alexa's interview was my favorite because she shared attending a worship night at this house that was once used for frat parties, and she mentioned how next door there were students doing the drinking and drugs and partying, and they were looking out the window and seeing these students in this backyard on their knees praying and praising the Lord, being in community and fellowship together, and they were looking at each other saying, "What's going on over there?" So I just thought the way she highlighted that was such an amazing contrast.
Wow, that's incredible, and thank you for joining me today, Angelica.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Next, let's take a look at our final short film, What the Music We Listen to Tells Us About Our Personality, a short piece that explains why we listen to certain music genres. Let's watch to find out what happens.
Music is a big part of everyday life, but the songs we choose may tell us more than we realize. Researchers use a personality measure called the Big Five Inventory, which looks at 5 core traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and emotional stability. Studies show that music preference often aligns with these traits. We spoke to Dr. Philip Tyler and Dr. Max Butterfield, and we asked them this question: in what ways does music preferences reflect aspects of a person's personality?
Sometimes a little bit of both, and sometimes neither one, because music is often an expression of how we're feeling in the moment.
I would say yes, and yes. Being immersed in a particular type of music can shape the personality. When I was doing research on emotions embedded in music, there was one outlier, and he was acting like a particular thing was a lot happier than the rest of the respondents. And so I asked him after the test what type of music he listened to, and he said hard metal rock. And so his frame of reference had shifted because of the type of music that he tended to listen to.
Music is an element of expression. So we, use music to tell other people about what's important to us, and also to help ourselves understand why we're feeling a certain way or why we are the way that we are.
We also asked them this question: do people tend to choose music that matches their personality, or does the music they listen to shape their personality over time?
The way people relate to music is really quite complex. For example, there are people who select their music preferences because they want to fit in with a particular crowd. And so that could reflect a desire to fit in.
You have to have a certain openness, for example, to like jazz. However, all different types of people like jazz or like a variety of different types of music. And so as a result, personality styles don't predict music preferences all that well.
Music is something we experience every day on our playlists, in our headphones, and in the background of our lives. But researchers say the songs we choose may reveal more than just what we like. Music preference often aligns with core traits. People who score high in openness, for example, tend to explore a wider variety of genres, from jazz to experimental sound. Those who are more outgoing often choose upbeat, energetic music. And individuals who are more reflective or introverted may gravitate toward calmer or more acoustic styles. Music also affects how we manage emotions. What we listen to can help us feel understood, energized, or grounded. And the way we respond to a song, whether it makes us feel calm or excited, can be a window into how we cope with the stress and connect with others. Music is not just entertainment. It's a window into how we think, feel, and even who we are. So who are you?
That was What the Music We Listen to Tells Us About Our Personality. I'd like to welcome our next guest, Denzel Washington, the writer and director of the film. I'm excited to hear from you, Denzel.
Absolutely. It's good to be here.
So, Denzel, I know that as college students, we all have different tastes in music. Was it interesting to find out why some people are specifically drawn to certain genres of music?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say growing up in the same household, I'd always wondered why I was drawn to an artist like Frank Ocean, which was slow and melodic, and my brother loved Jay-Z, which is energetic and upbeat. So when the opportunity presented itself, I took full advantage to do some research.
Sounds like you put a lot of work into the story. Your film features interviews by people with immense music knowledge. How did you find these experts that you interviewed?
Yeah, well, walking around campus with Miles and Trent, we were looking for some B-roll. So we wandered into Cooper Music Center, and we so happened to run into Dr. Philip Tyler, who's a professor of violin. And while he was practicing, we decided to grab some B-roll. And then afterwards, he asked us what it was for. And turns out in the 90s, he actually did a study on the exact same thing that we were doing our film on. So we got lucky with that one.
Wow, how interesting. And thank you for joining us on the show today.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Thank you all for joining us for Studio 2043. We hope you enjoyed watching our projects as much as we enjoyed making them. If you're interested in making films like these, contact our instructors, Dr. James Wicks and Professor Nathan Gibbs. You can get involved in learning about TV and film production and practicing the art of visually telling a story. We hope to see your short film on the next edition of Studio 2043. And we're out.